This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat and fire. Budman fans are hot and bothered like grits because when it's
Go
all said
ahead,
and
he
done, Earl
knows.
the Truth Spence basically was in a diving of a paid to lose of a basically controversial fight. You see, before you tear somebody down, you have to build another one up. Let me say it again. Before you tear somebody down, you have to build someone up. When Earl the Truth Spence mentioned the sanctioning bodies, and he mentioned the 3% variations, and he mentioned the fact that fighters don't need to be paying 3% anymore, they started coming after him. Because at the end of the day, they wanted to basically punish Earl the Truth Spence for exposing the dirtiness in boxing. See, boxing has a lot of dirtiness that's associated with it. It has a lot of dirtiness that's affiliated with it. And it has a lot of dirtiness that's covering around the atmosphere of it. Because it's a dark sport. See, when you're dealing with a dark sport, you're dealing with dark nuances. You're dealing with dark endeavors. You're dealing with dark assessments and observations of powers that be and the darkness that's associated behind them being greedy. See, this is all about money. It has nothing to do with what you're seeing in front of you. What you're seeing is the matrix. What you're seeing is an illusion. You see, both fighters walk away with back end money and everything, probably 50, 60 million. The second fight, they walk away with about 100 plus. The third fight, they walk away with 150 plus. Do you see what happens? So this is what they're making as fighters. Now imagine the networks. Imagine the advisors. Imagine the promoters. Imagine the powers that be and how much money they make. You see, Rudy Poo and Plum Plum Brains, they don't have corpus callosums. Classic Dose and Troglodytes, they don't have cerebellums. Ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetorics, they don't have a medulla oblongata, because your cerebellum, it affects your motor skills and it affects your ability to critically think. Let me say it again. Your cerebellum affects your motor skills and your ability to critically think. A lot of boxing fans can't critically think, so they can't see the illusion. They can't see the matrix that's put in front of them. Earl the Truth Spence wasn't Earl the Truth Spence. And your hatred for Earl the Truth Spence, if you're an ESJ hater, you're going to say that he got punished. You're going to say that Terence Crawford basically outboxed him. Terence Crawford was too strong. Terence Crawford was too big. You're going to say these things because you have a brain full of mush and a brainwashed dodo head brain power. So you're going to say that. You're going to
Go
fall
ahead,
for the
he
illusions.
knows.
You're going to fall for the matrix. But the real G's, the super real G's, the ultimate real G's out here in these boxing streets, they're going to see it for what it is. And what it is that Terence Crawford actually won a non-credible fight. He won a fight that basically gave him something of credibility. You gotta understand, his whole boxing career was filled with smoking fucking mirrors. His whole boxing career was filled with smoking mirrors. So they had to give him something of resemblance as if he's dominant. Now, supposedly the Terence Crawford era, that don't even sound right. They wanted to take away the Spence era dichotomy because Spence attacked sanctioning bodies. Spence attacked powers that be. So he had to get basically what we would say crippled, slapped, and punished by the powers that be. You don't come after them. Because at the end of the day, they don't like nobody coming after them because they always win. Powers that be is like Las Vegas. You know how the Las Vegas house always wins? The powers that be, they always win no matter what. So Spence gets supposedly punished. Spence looks supposedly lethargic. Spence looks like he supposedly doesn't have a motor. But all of a sudden, you're seeing nuances. Letitia Crawford partying with the WBO president. Like, you guys act like, what is WBO? Isn't it a sanctioning body? Let me say it again, because what I said was so deep and profound. So hear me. Hear me. Motherfucking well. Letitia Party is drinking with WBO presidents. When has she ever drank with a WBO president? This is Terence Crawford's sister. I really want you guys to start thinking. What you're seeing is not reality. They propositioned for Terence Crawford to win because they wanted Terence Crawford to win the first fight all along. This is some WWE makeup shit. This is some WWE fantasy shit. See, WWE is the only sport outside of boxing where they sign something on the dotted line and they tell you this is how it's going to play out, especially when they want to humble a star or they want to beat up a heel. They do these types of things. You get storyline, you get fairy tale, you get basically stories put together, manufactured together in such a beautiful fashion to where now it affects you. It neuro-linguistic programs you, and it turns you into a brain full of mush and a brainwashed dodo head to accept what you have to accept. But what you're accepting is not reality. It's a matrix. See, a lot of people have sipped down the blue pill, so they can't really see in the red pill dichotomy that Spence lost, not because Spence was Spence. He lost actually for the opposite equation, the 180 of what we would say equation of Spence not being Spence. See, Terence Crawford didn't win a credible win. It's actually more of what we've seen from Terence Crawford. This happened against Shawn Porter. This happened against Kell Brook. And now it happened against Errol the True Spence. Again, go back and look at the opponents that they have faced. Who has damaged, brutalized, stopped, and punished the opponents more effectively? It's Errol the True Spence. So why would he lose a fight knowing that even on Errol the True Spence's worst day, you could say his worst day was against Shawn Porter. You could say his worst day was against, people want to say Mikey Garcia. But guess what? That's not a worst day. That was actually a great day because he boxed the shit out of Mikey Garcia with 1,200 fucking punches. Officially fucking retired him. Shawn Porter, he beat him at his own phone booth. But let's just say Shawn Porter was supposedly, we're going to run with their bullshit and fuck shit narrative, that was his worst day. When it's all said and done, what we're seeing is not what we're seeing. The bilateral rematch denotes it. The fact that both fighters are going to make more money clarifies it. And the fact that a rematch at 154 basically validates and certifies it. So if anyone's not seeing this for what it is, then you need to get yourself checked. Because it's not HeKnowsEverything's fault that he is a deep thinker. It's not the real G's, the super real G's, and the ultimate real G's out here in these boxing streets faults that they are deep thinkers. It's the lack of you being a deep thinker to see what it is that's placed in front of you. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat truth teller fashion. I keeps the foot on the whoop on the nicks. I keeps the foot on the whoop on the nicks. This is HeKnowsEverything. Check it out.